and his shot is honestly effortless. It's insane. The amount of times we're literally like, everyone's running around like headless chickens, and he's like, I'm just going to shoot, and he'll score, and we're like, oh, okay.
That's going to be a really good competitive game. Those are the sort of games we play for, and those are the sort of games we're in. And yeah, for us, it's just now showing that we consistently deserve to be considered one of the top teams.
Honestly, it just feels impossible to stop him. It's crazy because he's just so good. He can shoot, he can drive, he can rebound, and it's just so hard. But hopefully this year we've got this.
I will say, if you were to name the top 6 male players in England right now, I think we have 3 of them.
John Bagnall, that's a bold claim. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the For Korf's Sake podcast, hosted by me, James Sawyer, and the icon, Caitlin Fitzgerald.
You've really been stretching the definition of icon the past 3 weeks, but I'll take it. Here we are, episode 3.
I know, already they're going fast, aren't they? We're loving this. It was supposed to be every other 2 weeks, and now we're bashing them out weekly because we're just enjoying it so much.
Yeah, 3 episodes in and haven't been cancelled yet, so let's keep the streak going.
Great point. Anyway, Caitlin, how was your week? Some games at the weekend. How did your week go?
Yes, back in action. I thought I might have kind of inflicted curse of the pod by saying that the potentially only guaranteed result of the weekend was a bet win. I think it was actually quite a close game, but yeah, so happy to have got through that, but we'll go through the league table properly in a second. But yeah, all good. How are you? Big goals from you at the weekend, let's not forget.
I know, stop. I'll be honest, my week was made with the old Korfball style, doing the little montage of my goals. That is something to come back to, Caitlin, after 2 years away. I tell you that. I was high as a kite on that montage. Legend, Mark, for doing that, so thank you. Yeah, I guess really quickly as well, just to run through for the listeners, bit of a different episode today. Really excited. We've got 2 guests that are coming on. We're going to speak to Chelsea Browne. We actually spoke to her yesterday in preparation for their international tournament that comes up at the weekend. So she's representing Ireland. And then we are also going to have John Bagnall, who's going to join us shortly. And again, we're going to discuss all things Scotland, as the head coach of Scotland as well, regarding their upcoming tournament. But John, also being the head coach of Bristol, will be some really fun conversations regarding the current National League and everything that goes on there. But I guess with that being said, Caitlin, let's crack straight on and let's talk through the results last weekend. I'll pass over to you to go through some of them.
Yeah, again, another great set of results. Few teams recording games that hadn't done previously. Appreciate Bristol Thunder live streaming their game. Unfortunately, the quality of the game, video quality that is, wasn't the highest, but appreciate the effort involved there. Hopefully are able to kind of capture the video in a higher quality, if not streamed live in future, but appreciate the effort. The game itself sounds like a very exciting one. They managed to get back to winning ways over an impressive Tornadoes team, coming away at 25-21 victors there. Next.
We'll just before you go on to next there, Caitlin, do just want to put a caveat in there. Rumour mill has spread 2 yellow cards for the Bristol City team in that game.
Yes, I've heard as much.
So the cards are flying out, and I think that we are really keen to understand a little bit more about reffing, and we do hope to at some point bring a ref on to understand a little bit more about how the rules are laid out, etc., and how we can grow more referees in the sport. But yeah, I heard a time wasting call, and I think there was a charge call as well. So very interesting that we're seeing more cards sort of displayed on a weekly basis now as well. Just thought I'd bring that to the listeners' attention. Anybody that does watch it, a couple of yellow cards.
Yeah, all in the last 10 minutes, I believe, as well. So probably quite an exciting ending to that game.
For sure.
But yeah, also from the weekend, great to see Kingfisher continuing their impressive turn in form. Big win over Nomads, convincing win, 25-11. Again, have heard through the rumour mill that Owen Bailey made a return in this game. Obviously, as some people may know, wasn't eligible for the first 3 games this season, and by all intents and purposes wasn't going to play at all this year. So really glad to hear he is back. Owen is an incredibly exciting player to watch, brings goals, flair to that Kingfisher team, and clearly they've scored a decent amount of goals and beat Nomads convincingly. The next kind of really, really impressive win, I would say, is Bromley coming away as victors over Cambridge, who started the season well. Bromley are going over 20 goals for the first time. Looks like by the score 23-20 to Bromley, quite evenly matched game, but Bromley coming away victors there. They'll be really pleased with that and are sitting at a very healthy position in the table currently. Another close game at the weekend was the Beck Trojans game. Really pretty level throughout. Some individual stand-up performances for Beck, I'd say, from Chloe Swain coming up clutch with some 4 or 5 goals, but any time she was free, buried it. So that really made a massive difference. And Marcus Ty stepping up with some downtown bangers can only be described as really impressive to see. The final result being Norwich Bearsted, Norwich coming away 30-12 victors. They'll be pleased to have hit 30 goals. Very convincing win, and hopefully that can kind of trigger a winning spree for them. So that sums up our results there. Again, a very exciting week.
It's been such a good few weeks of Korfball. I think just looking at the results here that I've written down, 4 out of those 5 games have all hit plus 40 goals, which is just so entertaining from a spectator perspective. It shows that we're obviously heading in the right direction with the level as well that we're calling out. And the games that I did watch as well were really thrilling to watch and to engage with. And then, Bromley again, 23 again. That's like 3 of their 4 games, they're plus 20 goals. They're really looking strong, and good to see Knights back in it as well. I think Sam Brooks had an absolutely outstanding game for Trojans against Beck. Yes. I think a large portion of why they didn't necessarily run away is down to how fantastically he played and what a tremendous job he did. Yeah, really, really impressed that. And actually the whole Trojans team played really well. And I think if they reach that level against any other teams, I think we're going to see, I think they could beat every other team in the league if they reach that level. So, will be really interesting. I guess we've got 2 weeks off, Caitlin, as we look towards the international break, as we'll say. And I think that's a nice, easy transition here to bring on our first guest, which is going to be Chelsea Browne. So I will pass over to myself, who's going to do an interview from yesterday. I don't know how news people, anchors do this, but basically we spoke to Chelsea yesterday. Here we go, Caitlin. Love it. So, one of the most dangerous outside shooters in the National League, a Cambridge Tigers staple. She's made 33 appearances for her country, bagging a cracking 56 goals in that time. But even with such strong international and domestic accolades, arguably her crowning achievement was winning the 2023 Leicester Summer Tournament alongside me. What an achievement it was. What a day. No, I joke. She is an unbelievably talented player, and she's been kind enough to make some time to chat to us all about Ireland's upcoming tournament. Please join us in welcoming the Ireland and Tigers legend that is Chelsea Browne.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
It's always funny after the intro, isn't it?
Yeah. It's always a bit like, oh, okay.
It does.
Do I cheer myself? Yes.
Yeah. It was nice though. Thank you.
No, pleasure. Thank you for coming on. For a bit of context for the viewers, Chelsea, you just finished training, is that right?
I have, yes.
You just finished,
I'm in my car.
From training, or I can't remember what. Yeah, okay, legend. Thank you so much for making the time to talk to us about this. Really excited. You guys have a tournament coming up, right?
This is the European Korfball Championship first round qualifiers. So for those that don't know, the European Championships occur every 2 years. Maybe 8 or so years ago now, the IKF changed the format, so this tournament occurred every 2 years, but the nature of the tournament differs every 2 years. So last year was the European A Championships and the B Championships, which featured teams ranked 1 to 8 and 9 to 16 in Europe respectively. And then next year, so every 4 years, is the kind of European Championships proper, which is the big 16-team tournament. That's definitely my preferred version of the tournament. It feels like really reflective of Europe. So this upcoming couple of games next weekend are the qualifiers for that. Ireland will be in attendance alongside Scotland, Greece and Serbia. And correct me if I'm wrong, I read this earlier on the IKF page, there's only one qualifying spot from this. So it is really high stakes all to play for?
We've actually been told it's top 3.
What?
Yeah, top 3 out of 4. So who knows?
What? Don't fact check any of anything we say on this. But still, out in Belgrade, pretty cool location. Should be quite fun.
Bit different.
So yeah, not the usual, not one of the usual middle of nowhere Poland situations. So that's been really, really good. Before we talk about that specifically, though, I wanted to just ask about your kind of Ireland Korfball journey, how you first got into the team. Were you aware of your Irish heritage and what it could do for Korfball? Or you kind of headhunted and were you questioned for like?
Yeah, so I started playing for Ireland. I think I first trialled just before COVID. And then obviously COVID happened and couldn't play Korfball. And then trialled again in 2021 and was selected to go away to Poland and have kind of just played ever since. I did a little bit of England, like juniors, when I was a bit younger. So have always had like high aspirations to play at that kind of level. I actually wasn't aware that I could play. So my grandparents are Irish, and I wasn't aware that qualifies to play at the time. And then someone just was like, no, it does. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just went to trial just to kind of see what it was like. And yeah, here I am 5 years later, loving life.
No, it always seems a good team to be part of. I'll put our bold claim, the best national anthem in Korfball.
Yeah,
it's
I
a good one.
agree.
Always gets everyone involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, over those kind of 4 or 5 years or so, how do you feel Ireland Korfball has progressed in that time, has grown? What's
So I
different
think
now?
we're very lucky we had Kays for such a long time. Kays was our coach for 14 years. And he brought so much experience and knowledge to Ireland. And I think just kind of watching them from where they were 14 years ago to where we are now is crazy. I think even in the 5 years I've been there, I feel like we've improved a lot. We're only getting better. And we had such a massive turning point last year, losing like key players. And I think it was a bit of a fresh start for us this year. In all honesty, we were hoping to not be in this tournament this year. Our tournament last year didn't go very well, so here we are. But it's okay, and it happens. And we've got Isabel as our coach now, and so it's really exciting to kind of go into this tournament feeling like a brand new team, and that's what it feels like. It feels like a completely brand new team. We're trying a completely different kind of system of playing, and so it's quite exciting for us as players, but also hopefully as like a whole training squad. We've really come along a lot this year, I think.
Yeah, and I think something that I've definitely seen is that ongoing training. I feel like any weekend where there isn't a National League game, there's some Ireland Korfball training going on, which is really great. How do you feel? You say you've got a new coach this last year or so. I know you might not want to discuss the ins and outs of all things tactical here, but is there anything else, anything that you think she's brought that's changed the way you guys play or is developing what feels new this time round?
I think she's so passionate about Korfball. So Isabel she played for Portugal when she was younger. She's coached Portugal. She coached Australia. She comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge. And I think for us, like for me as a female player, having a female coach is massive. And I think it's such a massive like role model for us. Like I say, Kays was great, and I absolutely adore Kays. He helped us so much, but it's really nice to have a different view. And Portugal play very differently to how we play, and she's kind of brought aspects of that in. And so it'll be interesting to see how we kind of get on when we're away. But it's been really interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like I've played for 16 years now. So her coming in has been a really like positive experience for me personally, and I think for everyone else.
Yeah, it's always very telling, isn't it, when you've been playing that amount of time and a new coach brings that excitement and actually new things to test and try out, and it's quite nice to like kind of rediscover or discover even new ways of playing. And yeah, I think this kind of tournament seems like the kind of perfect first test for yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've spoken a little bit about kind of the frequent training and gameplay that you guys have been doing. How do you feel preparation has gone for this tournament? You mentioned the high turnover players? How do you feel the team is gelled throughout that?
It's been, I think, if you had asked me a year ago after Turkey, I would have been like, I am dreading next year because, like I say, we lost people like Terry, who's been like an absolute kind of, I don't even know, like anchor for Ireland for years. And we lost Sarah, who again was an absolute like anchor for Ireland, and she was our president at the time. And that is such a big change. Like we've had nearly a whole new committee come in, and it was brand new for us all. And I think this is probably the most confident I felt going into a tournament for a long time. And the atmosphere feels really good. Everyone seems really keen and excited and happy. And I think we've gone into tournaments before feeling quite confident. I'd say last year going into Turkey, we were like, yeah, we could do this. Like we can finish top 3 or 4. And then it didn't happen. And it's so demoralizing. But I'm really hoping that this year we change that mindset and we are like more positive, and that will have a better impact. Everyone kind of training wise, games that we've had, friendlies we've all left feeling really confident and really happy with how we've played. And so, yeah, we feel like we're in a really good position at the minute.
I guess it's one of those sometimes rare opportunities in sport where you get a kind of a second chance almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've got to take it when those opportunities come. Just I've been looking at the fixtures today, and think you've got quite a nice run in, particularly that first day, 2 games in a day. I've seen that Scotland have a lovely 10:30 in the morning fixture to start them off, and then you guys get to play after that at 12:15, and then obviously there's a big gap before you play Scotland in the evening, which at 7:15, which is, I think, no disrespect to our Serbian and Greek listeners, I think Scotland is probably the biggest the crunch match of the tournament, I would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, probably slightly favourable to not have them first game. I think first game of a tournament can always be a bit shaky. You just kind of feel it, after going to a new country and stuff like that. So they've got the early game. You get to play a bit later, and then you've got less of a waiting around till you play them. How do you feel about the run of fixtures? Do you agree that Scotland is probably the biggest competition in this tournament?
I don't know.
And
I think we know Scotland. We play them so much. We play them every year at Tri-Nations. We tend to always be in the same tournaments. And I think we do know them quite well. I think it will be a good game. I think based off of Tri-Nations, it will be a good game because it always is. And even Turkey last year was a close game. So I think it will be good. I think the Serbia game will be a big one. We only lost to them by 1 in Turkey. And so I think they've come on leaps and bounds since we first played them in Czech a few years ago at the qualifiers for the World Championships. They were a team that literally came into that tournament with no experience. They maybe had 1 or 2 players that could play, and then everyone else kind of just was there to make up numbers, it felt like. But honestly, they are like a different team. And I think they are a team for us that are a bit of like one of those teams you're a bit like, we could win, but we might not. And I think it's always a bit unsure. So I think that'll be a really good game. And to be honest, I think all the games will be quite good. I think for our level, our standard, these are our teams. We are in that kind of B side of the tournament, like you were talking about earlier, and B side of Europe. And so I think it will be a good kind of tournament regardless. But I think Scotland will be a good game because it always is Ireland, Scotland, same as Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Wales. But yeah, I do think the Serbia game will be a big one for us.
I was actually looking at the Serbian team's Instagram today. Worth a watch. It was a very interesting turn in the feed, running in shot, static moment they were all practicing, which I thought was an interesting one. But no, I hear what you say about Serbia. Very tall on the boy front. Yeah. Very athletic.
And they have a basketball background. And so they're very, very kind of like aggressive on the ball and off the ball. And I think that's something we as a kind of team aren't great at defending. And I think that's something we've really worked on this year. So it'll be interesting to see how we kind of come up against them. But yeah, they've got one boy who is massive, and he's honestly just feels impossible to stop him. It's crazy because he's just so good. He can shoot, he can drive, he can rebound, and it's just so hard. But hopefully this year we've got this.
Well, it hopefully feels like that. The World Championship qualifiers in 2023, where you lost them by that. No, when you lost them by 1 goal, that's
Yeah.
probably a learning experience to take into this. I mean, it would be a great test for yourselves, but also for your new coaching staff, so they match up against that. But yeah, and that's on the second day of the tournament, so that would be a good one to kind of build into.
Yeah.
Potentially going for the. I mean, even if the 3 teams qualify, you still want to win this, don't you? It's still
absolutely.
the way you need to go. So yeah,
Mate,
hopefully
3 teams qualifying. That is going to be some night out afterwards. That is just like celebrations all round, isn't it? That is. There's one team that's basically swimming in laurels. That's it. The rest of them are having a great time.
I know. We were actually talking about this. I don't think there will be a night out. Normally there is, obviously, if you haven't been to like an international tournament or a tournament away like this, there's normally a big night out after to celebrate the hard work that we've done. But because it's on a Sunday and people have to get back for work on the Monday, everyone's leaving. So I think there's like a handful of us Ireland players and maybe some of the Scotland players.
Big night out in Belgrade. That's it. That's basically.
Yeah, either that or Belgrade Airport Sunday night is going to be quite a spicy place to be.
Yeah.
Nice. It's also think should probably just call out for some of the listeners as Beck played Ireland in that pre-season tournament, and you guys looked absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously that was neck and neck essentially right up until the end when we basically took me off for Blake, and then Blake came on and did a couple and then basically went off. But yeah, if you look at that there, it was genuinely like neck and neck, which is I think a testament to how good you guys looked. I know I felt like you guys had me on skates all day, so I think it'll be a very, very exciting time for you guys. Before we go on to just a little fun few questions about Ireland, love to quickly get your take on how the season is currently going for you in Tigers, Chelsea.
I think we've come into this season in a very different place to last year. We had an issue with halls last year and training, and it was just not a good place to be in for a National League squad. And it really had an impact on us, and we didn't do as well as we probably should have. I personally think we've got a great group of players. I think we have a lot of potential there, and we've had people like Isaac join us this year, he's been such a great addition. And I just think we're getting better. And I think we're still in that process and that stage of learning how to play with each other, which sounds really basic, but obviously we've changed our division so much compared to last year. And you do have to learn how to play with each other. And we only get 1 training session a week as a squad. And so it's hard to try and gel that quickly. But I think that our first 2 games were so strong. And I think that is a credit to Liv and kind of what she's done with us to start the season, but also just the players that we've gone into this season, like I say, with a completely different mindset, which has been really positive for us. I think, sorry, my light just went out. I think moving forwards, I think the Bromley game was hard. They shot really, really well. And we had some calls. It was on both sides. I think some calls from the referee that went against us. And obviously went against them, but it makes the game harder. And I think we just take this game and we kind of move on from it. We scored 20 goals, which is actually still really good. We'd scored 11 the week before. It's still an improvement. But I just think, we're in a good place, and hopefully we can move forward. I think a few weeks off for the team is a good thing, and we can kind of come back together, reset for our next game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those seasons where you've got to not kind of sit on a loss for a while, because of that can be anyone nature.
Exactly.
It really is anyone's game. So you learn, you could say you review it, you learn from it, but don't dwell on it for too long, because
and it makes the league so exciting.
Games are up the grass. Yeah.
I think it's better than this kind of seasons we've had before, where it is exactly who's going to finish in the top 4. It makes it so exciting for the players, for people who maybe don't play in the league but are big fans of kind of watching Korfball. And I think the standard is getting better. I think the Korfball across the National League is getting better because teams are getting better. So then that makes it more exciting as well and more interesting. So I think it's going to be a great season, I think, regardless of how it kind of finishes. I'm excited to see where the season goes.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. It's one of those where I know you shouldn't, especially me. I'm obviously a Beck fan, but Tigers were my first team. So really, I'm kind of always in the back of my head. I'm kind of always rooting for those. Other than against Beck, it's always I'm always a Tigers. I love Liv, big fan. So, but yeah, they're awesome. Also, controversially, Chelsea, didn't know if you knew this, but you actually took my number. My 1 year season at Tigers, my one year where I spent 6 months traveling, my 1 year, and you come in you swoop in,
Sorry.
you swoop
It
in
was
and you know,
all
no,
the numbers available were terrible, and it was the only number that had any sense to me. So I was like, I'm gonna have to just pick it, aren't I? So
yeah. No, absolutely. You're doing a much better job of it than I was, to be fair. So fair play, fair play.
I just can't believe they didn't retire the number.
I know.
That's what I thought.
Hall of Fame it, mate.
That was an iconic season for me. I played against Dave Brooks and he scored 9 goals. That's not. It's not double figures. That's a win. That's a
That is
result.
a win. That is a win.
That's a result. Yeah. Anyway, it's good to hear that Tigers have got that Hall space back and are back training fully as they should. I think, like you say, really great mix in the squad of experience and then youth as well, which makes just for such a good set of games as the season goes on, because you know you're only going to go from strength to strength, which is really exciting to watch. I think there's a few teams in the league that are like that, actually, which will make those games really interesting. But before we go, Chelsea, as a cautious on, you've given us lots of time, we did want to have some fun regarding just asking you a few questions coming up with the Ireland tournament and have a game of, we've never done this before. We thought we'd have a little game of teammates, if you've ever seen it. So I'm just going to ask you a number of quick questions, and I just need one teammate answer, all right? So we're going to stick exclusively to Ireland with the context tournament, okay? So just your Ireland teammates, right?
Yeah.
So first up, who's the loudest in the squad?
Can I pick myself? Because I actually am really loud.
Yeah.
I always get told you can just hear my voice
fair.
constantly. If I had to pick, it probably would be me, actually, this year, to be fair.
Okay. Okay, no, all good. Make sure you don't just want you answering yourself if you don't want to make enemies. It's all a bit of fun, right? So,
Of course.
but no, it's a fair answer. Who brings the tunes? Who's the DJ?
Ooh, Callum knows all the bangers. He will sing along. He's life of the party. So
Nice. Interesting one here. Who's the hardest trainer?
probably Lizzie, just because she just loves to run around and she just doesn't stop. Like, we'll go into like some 4v4 and she's still 100 miles an hour and everyone is exhausted, but she's like, no, let's go. Like, so yeah, Lizzie.
Friend of the podcast, Lizzie Ty.
Yeah, we gotta stop mentioning these ties. It's gotta stop.
They're going to be like part of it, featuring the ties all the time.
I know.
God.
Can't get enough, can we? Okay, who's got the best moves on the dance floor?
Good question. I'm going to say probably Flora. Definitely Flora.
No.
Okay, nice. Who's got the worst moves on the dance floor?
Probably. Ooh, this is another good one. Probably. Lucian. I'm going to go Lucian.
I love it.
Done him.
I love it.
Done him.
Yeah, I love it so much. It's great. I hope someone's got footage of that. I know Korf Style, I think, loves Lucian, so I'm hoping there'll be some content at some point pop up from that. Yeah, sweet. Who is your favourite player to watch within the Ireland squad?
Alf. Alf makes everything look so easy. I mean, I'm a fan of Alf. He played at Tigers for a season, and he's so easy to play with, and his shot is honestly effortless. It's insane. The amount of times we're literally like, everyone's running around like headless chickens, and he's like, I'm just going to shoot, and he'll score, and we're like, oh, okay. Yeah, definitely Alf.
Yeah, he's a cracking player. He's absolutely unbelievable. Really, really good player. Which player's always late?
We're actually quite an on-time team, I have to say. Which is surprising. If you had asked me a few years ago, my answer would have been Dinos, but we're a very on-time team now, so.
Okay, fair enough. Good answer. Okay, that probably means it's you, but that's normally that's normally what the if it's not someone else, it's normally no, but it's all good. Who's the joker of the group?
I'd probably have to go again. It's so hard. Probably Callum again. He is just, like I said, life of the party constantly. He's just always making people laugh. Brings high energy all the time.
Love that. And then last few, right? So, who is the keenest Korfer?
Probably me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love a bit of Korf. Honestly, if I could just talk about Korfball or play Korfball all day long, it's the dream. Yeah, it'd probably be me or Lizzie.
Yeah, we'll cut Lizzie. We'll cut that. We'll just say you. All of that gets edited out. There's no more Lizzie Ty. There's nothing. Just I love it. No, she's keen as well. So that's pretty cool. Who is the sassiest?
Probably, I actually would go Sam Galvin is quite sassy. But I just think it's just not even in a, I just think sometimes he like is just so to the point and like just this is how it's going to be type thing, which is what we need sometimes, especially from our captain.
Unintentional sass.
Yeah.
Of that. Awesome. Who is going to bag the most goals this weekend for Ireland?
I'm going to say Flora. She's been playing so well in our pre-season games, in our friendlies. It just looks like she's scoring goals for fun. So I'm gonna put my money on Flora this weekend.
Sweet. And then
Nice.
one of two questions. Where are Ireland finishing this weekend?
I am going to say, I actually think we're going to finish first. I'm confident
Come
this year.
on.
Confident.
Amazing. And then lastly, where are Scotland finishing?
I'm not sure I can answer that question. I don't know. I actually think second or third. It will depend on how they match up against Serbia. I think Scotland have George, and George is great. And obviously Serbia have that really tall guy, and I think if they match them up right, then I think it will be really close. It'll be interesting to see, actually. I think really interesting. But yeah, I think second and third will Serbia, Scotland, either way.
That's looking like an excellent 10:30 in the morning clash on
Yeah.
a Saturday.
First game, yeah.
Scotland, Serbia, quality.
Sweet. And I think that kind of wraps us up. Caitlin, I don't know if you've got anything else to kind of ask or if that's your...
No, that was everything. I think we've done a whistle-stop tour of the past year of Irish Korfball. As someone also with Irish grandparents, I will be rooting for yourselves, but don't tell John when we interview him tomorrow.
Secret safe with me.
Nice. Well, that kind of wraps this up, Chelsea. Thank you so much. Genuinely, thank you for making the time and joining us. I appreciate it's not always the easiest, and then you've made the time out of your day considering how busy you are. So thank you. We are both very grateful, and we both look forward to watching the games of the weekend. Rest assured, Caitlin and I will be tuning in for the bangers at 10:30, at 7:30, the lot. And yeah, we look forward to hopefully having you back on at some point as well, and yeah, maybe talking about it afterwards. But yeah, awesome. That was great. Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Thanks
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Fantastic. Always good to hear from Chelsea. She was a phenomenal guest, wasn't she, Caitlin? Really, really enjoyed our conversation with her.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I actually didn't realise that she was so Korf keen in the way that just wants to talk about Korfball all the time. But it's great to out people as Korf nerds.
Yeah, the more the merrier. But I think in the preparation talking about Ireland, I think their big rival Scotland will be playing. I think that's a perfect time for us to bring in our next guest. You think we should let him in, Caitlin? You think it's time?
No time like the present. Let's go.
Starting his Korfball career at university in Edinburgh in 2012, this man has had an incredibly impressive rise to prominence over the last 13 years. Having played at National League level, he's transitioned seamlessly as a National League coach, previously coaching teams such as Birmingham in the National League, and he now coaches the Scotland national team, but perhaps is a little bit more well-known within our community for coaching the Bristol team and taking them to their greatest ever result last year, finishing second in the league table, which was absolutely incredible, incredibly impressive. He's just got back from holiday, so we're very grateful for him to making time, and we graciously welcome him onto the pod. So please join both myself and Caitlin in welcoming John Bagnall to the podcast. Thank you, John.
Come on.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. And what an introduction. I'm going to come on more often if you keep doing that.
Since Caitlin, I've tried not to lie about anybody else's. Did I get all the facts right there, John? Was that correct?
One slight mistake. I actually started my Korfball career at the University of Oxford 2 years prior to go to Edinburgh.
Okay.
And so I was there first, and then 2 years later I moved to Edinburgh. I guess Edinburgh is probably where I sort of found my feet in Korfball more than anything.
Yeah, had I guess a shout out. You've been on a podcast before. I had a little listen, and I thought that was where you'd started your kind of career. So, firstly, apologies for getting that wrong, but yeah, also really interesting rise to prominence in terms of coaching and playing and whatever. It's been a quick journey, a very quick journey to where you are now.
Yeah, it really has. But it's been an enjoyable one. I've loved it. I've met so many people, and it's obviously been a very fulfilling one. Obviously met my wife through playing Korfball as well, and we now have a little son. So it's been a quick journey, but a heck of a journey. Loved every second of it.
Bonus points for giving your wife a shout out so early on.
Yeah, I've got that in there early, so we can move past that now.
Nice. Well, I think to begin with, John, what we really want to focus on is you've got a really exciting tournament coming up. Yeah, I guess we just really wanted to find out how preparations go in and kind of, how it's been in the lead up to this tournament.
Yeah, preparation's been going really well. I think we're probably in the best place that I have seen the team be in the gosh, is it 4 years I've been involved in the coaching setup in Scotland now. We had our final sort of training a couple of weeks ago in Bristol. Played some friendlies against Bristol Thunder team, and won those games. And sort of throughout the squad, there's a lot of strength there now, which is really pleasing to see. It's really pleasing to see the improvement in the players that have come along. So we are fielding two sides in two different competitions in the next couple of weeks. So our main bulk of the squad are going to Serbia for the European Championships. But we've also got a second squad going out to Stadscanal in the Netherlands. And it just shows sort of how strong the depth in that group is now, that it was very difficult to pick the 14 who are going to be going to Serbia, and those who are going to Stadscanal have been really impressive as well throughout that. And they've really pushed those guys who are going to Serbia in training week in, week out. So we've had 4 or 5 really good training camps since around March time, building up to this tournament. Really excited. We're in a good place. The players, even though they play for different clubs, they stay connected with each other sort of through the world of social media, and sort of there's real good sort of gelling of the squad. The confidence is high, the enthusiasm is high, and we're really looking forward to it, to getting out there and getting going now.
Nice. That sounds like you're fully prepared and just really want to be out there. Now, I was actually having a look at some of the preparation earlier on, and obviously were defeated in the Tri-Nations tournament, I think maybe 3 months ago or so now. A good win over Switzerland, I saw, which kind of, overturns a result from 2 years ago where they beat yourselves. Games against Ireland and Wales, though, didn't go in your favour and weren't super high scoring. I know it's a 40-minute game. Games tend to be a bit lower scoring in that format. How do you feel that the last 3 months have impacted your preparation and helped you to kind of right those wrongs to stand you in a really good spot going into the tournament this weekend?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think sort of the Tri-Nations tournament and what we showed is actually defensively we were quite strong. I mean, we kept sort of a very strong Wales side down to 8 goals across 40 across 40 minutes. And I think sort of if you think of Korfball as 2 halves, you've got your attacking half and your defensive half. If you're keeping teams down to under sort of 20 goals a game, you're giving yourself a platform to win. The opposite just came and didn't work in our favour was the attacking side, that we didn't score anywhere near enough goals. So since then we've worked hard and just sort of building our attacking confidence, our attacking prowess. I think generally we felt over the last couple of years that we've been good at creating chances. It's just the actual throwing the ball through the basket that has held us back. And unfortunately, that is the most important bit of the game. What we've done a lot of focus on is just a lot of focus on shooting, a lot of focus on shooting under pressure, a lot of focus and also ball retention. So we're keeping trying to keep our shot count higher. So looking at turning sort of those 1-2 shot attacks into 5-6 shot attacks. But I think a lot of it as well is just about confidence with our players. It's just about giving them the platform where they can believe in themselves, that they can play with a bit of freedom and they can have the confidence to shoot and sort of be liberated from missing. In a sense, that it doesn't matter so much if you miss, as long as we get the ball back and then we'll go again. And actually, what's most important is that you take that shot in the first place. And then if we can hit sort of the 80, 90 shots a game, then we can shoot it around that 20% mark. That's going to give us between those 15, 20 goals a game that we feel that we'll need to win. And in certainly in the games that we've played over the last few years where we have hit 20 goals in the game, but all bar one, I think we have won. And actually now what I'm seeing as well is with the match with that defensive intensity that we showed at Tri-Nation, and that we've carried on through that summer, as long as we can take that and we can put it into play in a big tournament, I'm confident we'll have the platform to win the game. And it's a really interesting tournament because I think all 4 teams, are at a very similar level. And I think you'd be hard pushed to sort of place 1, 2, 3, 4 absolutely definite, because they're all sort of like very close. And so for us, I think having that defensive intensity, if we can match that with getting between those 15, 20 goals a game, we've got every chance, which was what our ultimate target is.
Yeah, and it does sound like a simple thing, but I think it is so crucial. Is if you put on more shots, you will score more goals, and that fairly simple philosophy, I think, is important and something that has really been drilled into me throughout my playing career. And I think that'll be particularly interesting in your opening fixture. Obviously against Serbia, which we have spoken a bit with Chelsea about this, boys particularly are a very physical set of players, basketball background, strong in the rebound, and potentially physical presence, wherein making of the ball harder. I'm expecting you to kind of talk specific tactics for all our Serbian listeners to hear. Do you feel that you're ready for that challenge? Is that something you've been working on specifically, generating those, how to exploit a big rebounder and how to deal with them?
Yeah, I think we have talked about it, particularly last time we played Serbia, we were quite late entries to the tournament. We didn't have arguably our strongest squad there. No offense to the players who went there, who all did very well. But when we were in France, that was something that was particularly evident. So when we played Serbia in France in 2022, I think we were 12-6 down at half time. And then we at one point went ahead. And I think they won 22-20. In the end, I think that was the one game where we scored 20 goals. But I believe 20 of their goals were scored by two players. 19, 20 of their goals, who were the two brothers. And I think for us, it's just about having the confidence that if we can mix up that defensive intensity and we can get tight to them, that they'll be forced into roles on the court that they don't necessarily want to play. But I think a lot of it is for our players just have the confidence that they can match them. I'm very big on sort of the psychological side of the game. And I think half the battle is won is if you walk on court believing you can win. I think Serbia 2 years ago were a bit of an unknown for us, but we've now played them a few times over the last couple of years. So you build that familiarity with them. And I think if we can keep them busy on the outside when we're attacking, we're making sure we're charging, getting the post, making sure we're not letting them dominate, we're keeping our heads high. I see no reason why we can't win.
I love that. You mentioned having the kind of personnel to effectively challenge and hopefully beat Serbia. Who are the players in the Scotland squad to look out for going into this tournament? Maybe some newcomers or maybe some super experienced players that are going to give you that edge.
Of course, I think the standout players, the captain, so George Rourke. So George was at Nomads a few years ago, has now moved to Barcelona. And I think that's brought a big benefit to us as the Scotland team because he's learned sort of a different style of Korfball and he's been able to sort of feed into the group new ideas that has come from there. And I think that's also really benefited him as an individual. I've seen him grow a lot over the last few years into a really strong player. And not only that, but someone who really believes in themselves. But even some of the players coming through from Scotland who've been part of this group for a long time. So took the girls, so Lisa Anderson, who was at Glasgow, now Browne Bears, like you see how much she's improved over the last 2-3 years, and also her own confidence grow, how she's taken sort of international tournaments a bit by storm. I mean, she finishes the top female goal scorer at the Champions League that Glasgow went to about a year ago. Then was being pushed in her own club last year. She has since moved clubs, but she was being pushed in her own club last year by Jen Devlin. Jen's another one who's really come through and done really well. And then you complement those two girls with the girls that have National League experience with Nadine Gallagher and Tamsin Ellis, both from Bristol Thunder, who bring the defensive intensity and bring really sort of the fire and energy to the team. We've got sort of a really solid group there as well. But equally, so I'm mentioning quite a lot of players here in terms of ones to watch out. I end up going for the full team. But Ross Fraser, James Percival, someone new who's coming to the squad this year. He stood out at Tri-Nations as someone who could really score from anywhere on court. And he has set in the standards for taking those shots. And then he's in the depth of the squad this year. We brought in a young lad called Ben Fleming who plays his Korfball up in Dundee. And Ben's been part of the group for a long, long time. And he's been part of our development squads and he's been getting better and coming up. And then I think this year, and particularly in the Tri-Nations tournament and that B-side tournament, he really stood out. And you can really start seeing how much he's come on. And I think last year we scored in excess of sort of 70 goals across 12 games, I think, playing for his club side. And then he took that into the Tri-Nations tournament. And in terms of being at Bristol, in terms of players who I think would rival Toby Clark and Johnny Potter for speed, I think Ben's probably up there. And that is almost impossible to stick with. Bit of a firecracker on court, and it will add something to the squad. So the squad's in a really good place, and I probably missed out sort of 5-6 of the other players who are there. And I'm talking very enthusiastically at the minute, but that's because I have real belief this group of players.
That's quite a good segue, actually. I just wanted to briefly touch on the growth of Korfball in Scotland and how you feel Scottish Korfball has developed within the last 4 or 5 years. It sounds like you are recruiting players from clubs that actually play in Scotland. And how's that been over the past few years?
It's been really good, and it's actually been really positive to see the growth and development of the sport up there. I think what we had seen prior to that is generally, if you looked at the Scottish League, the usually one team would dominate the league for a number of years, and then they would lose players, and somebody else would take over. And I think ultimately, sort of all the clubs in Scotland have kind of had a turn doing that. But now the three sort of big city clubs, in terms of Edinburgh City, Edinburgh Mavericks, and Glasgow, are probably as close as they've been in a sort of ability and playing wise than they have been for a long, long time. Ultimately, if you go back to 2014 time, the vast majority of the Scotland squad was made up from players who played outside of Scotland. But now we have a much more Scottish focus, and that's not just in squad selection, that also goes into that the team trains in Scotland. The vast majority of training sessions are in Edinburgh, so they have a very visible presence there. We also look to feeds in back to the Scottish system, and that we also have an international development team. But there's also a Scottish Korfball League development team, which the national team assistant coach Paul look after, and they're starting to go abroad. And that has really helped in exposing a much greater range of players to different styles of Korfball, different cultures of Korfball, and getting used to playing on bigger courts up there. Different styles of refereeing, which I think is really important. And in terms of doing that, you then start to see that translate into the league. You're starting to see the league get a bit more physical. The standard of it's getting really higher. And then it's been really reflected within the national team itself, in that the bulk of our squads is made up from Scotland-based players, but then it's complemented by a handful of players who play elsewhere, but who are really committed to that, and are really committed to the team itself, and really committed to Scotland. And what that represents. And so, like, the special plaudits have to go to those players for the amount they travel. Bless them. So going from all areas of the UK up to Edinburgh 4 or 5 times a summer for training camps comes with a time cost, a financial cost, and they really add to that. George, for example, travels from Barcelona 4 or 5 times. But they're really adding to that group, and then the togetherness in the group and sort is something that's also come along.
This is why I love getting, different kinds of guests on, because we get to hear a lot more about the Scottish League, not something we've touched on before.
I just wanted to add to what you just said a little bit there, Caitlin, to say it's so fantastic to hear from the teams in the North. That has been some feedback we've had of the podcast, is that obviously the National League is generally kind of segregated to the south of the UK, right, in terms of where the teams are. We know there's a lot of talent up there. We know there's a huge amount of passion. There's teams that have got 6, 7 teams up in there, not just in Scotland, but in the north of England. And it's really great to see the exposure and to hear names that we haven't heard before. And also prior to the tournament, hopefully some of our listeners will then know who to look out for, because, there are some really talented players. I got absolutely ruined by George Rourke playing for Nomads 2 after he'd played 58 minutes against Blake for Beck 1. So I thought I was going to have a breeze, and he came on and played against me and sold me hot dogs for days after 58 minutes against Blake, who is probably the best player in the National League. So it's great that other people will hopefully hear these names that maybe haven't before and follow along at the tournament. But just did want to also make sure that we take some time. You're coaching one of the most exciting teams in the National League, certainly one of the fastest kind of rise to prominence the National League's in. Would love to get a little bit more insight into Bristol and a little bit about your experience there. So I guess, first question is, how do we feel like the season started, John? How do you feel like it's going? It's been a big start already. There's been number of results. Yeah, how do you feel?
I feel happy. So very happy. We had a little bit of a hiccup against Kingfisher, but what we came away after that is saying, like, Bristol teams in the past, that is probably a game they would have lost. But the fact that we kept it together, we were a second away from winning, and that Kingfisher team was very good. And I think sort of one thing, like, just to give them a shout out, I think before the season started, a lot of people were writing them off, and I was kind of like, there's only one player different from where they had been previously, and from what I understand from Sunday, that one player is now back. So they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year, and it was a great game. to be a part of. So real credit to them. But yeah, I think for us, like this year was always going to be a little bit of a transition from sort of last year. It was about getting into the top four. And now it's about sort of getting used to being in the top four and about getting used to being one of those top teams. I think I listened to the podcast Lizzie and Ty was on with you guys. And when you all sort of had like, Bristol banter for a second, absolutely banter for a second. And I was like, just stop saying that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of an adaptive period in terms of like getting used to having the target on our backs. When we played Bearstead the first game of the season, it was sort of a real sort of sign of respect and how far we'd come to me that there was a range of other National League coaches on the side there, sort of with phones out filming, taking notes. And I was kind of like, well, see, this is how far we've come. We won 3 or 4, and our next game's actually against Beck, because we've got a bit of a break because all our players disappear off to play for their various national teams at this point in the year, and we're going into that game undefeated, and that was the big thing for us. So yeah, very happy with how the season started. We're scoring good numbers of goals, defensive intensity still there, and then yeah, hopefully it'll just be sort of foot to the floor from here, and we'll power through.
Yeah, for sure. It has been. I mean, it's really interesting. I guess, are we going to break the 4-4 here, Caitlin? The initial intention of the podcast, the first episode, was that both Caitlin and I would share our tables, but basically we got kind of carried away with time. So my table never came out, which didn't have Bristol in second, of which I've been taking flack from people regarding the fact that Bristol were in second. But no, listen, you guys look absolutely phenomenal. I've loved watching you last year. Really excited for the games, or the Kingfisher games. Super exciting as a spectator to watch, and you've got so many great players there. One question I really wanted to get from you, John, and I totally understand you can't divulge you specific tactics, etc. I guess it's more a mindset as well. But Lizzie did quite a good job of speaking about where she felt like you could probably break a team like Beck down. But actually, given the Kingfisher result and given some of the teams in there, I mean, Trojans beat Bristol both games in the league last year, and then you got them in the one that matters, which is the most reverse Trojans thing of all time. They're in the game that matters, because they're just so clutch, which was very impressive from Bristol. But how do you kind of think you need to progress as a team to consistently beat those teams that are right there and that have a wealth of experience as well and have been there? Like, what sort of things do you think the team can do?
I think that's a great question. And I think sort of one of the things that characterises those great teams is the confidence they have in themselves. And I was chatting to a colleague about this earlier in the week. And I was using Beck as an example, and sort of the word I used to describe Beck was swagger. I think when Beck turn up to play a game, they have a certain amount of swagger, like they know they're going to win. And no matter what the score is in the game, they always have a sort of underlying confidence that come 60 minutes, we'll have more goals than the other team. And I think for us, that is the next stage. We've come out and we've proven sort of like now the Bristol Thunder as a team has beaten every team in the National League other than Beck. And so now we just have to build that confidence in ourselves, and we have to sort of have that strength, which will come, and I'm confident it will come, to see those games through, that we can compete against the very best and we can be confident that we're going to win, and that we're going to come through it in the end. And I think that will come from just a few more games sort of up there. But I mean, look, I talk about how much belief I have in Scotland. I've got just as much belief in this Bristol Thunder team. There's so many like greatly talented players, and sort of I'll put my neck on the line. Because I know you guys were talking about sort of a combined Bristol Beck team. I will say if you were to name the top 6 male players in England right now, I think we have 3 of them.
John Bagnall, that's a bold claim. I love it. Good. That's what I love it. I love that.
That's what we want
fantastic.
on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
I will put my neck on the line and say that I'll be the hill I will die on. And then added to that, just such great depth with the female players. And I sort of look, and I've considered before, if you're an opposition coaching Bristol Thunder, you must look at that team. You think, you've got a James Wilcox there who scored 75 goals in his debut season in the National League, so you have to have a plan for him. But then down the other end, you've got Leo Comerford, who's got your 6'7" rebounder, so you have a plan for him. added to that, you've got your Lizzie Ty, your Kira Wilcox, who you need to think about. And so how do you plan for all these different players? And you can work all your week on sort of coming up with that plan. And then you get to the game on Sunday and those players aren't playing because we just have that depth that we rotate round. And truth be told, like, I don't necessarily have a strongest eight with Bristol Thunder that runs through the season. Like, we will change it round. Like Johnny Potter, Tom Greenfield, Saskia Hardcastle, who's joined us this year, Laura Comerford, who's come back from injury, all add to that. And yeah, I think it's for that group, it's just sort of them getting that experience and getting used to that. And I think come January, when we go to Europe and we go to the Champions League, that'll expose us to another high level of Korfball, the group haven't had before. And once that comes, and I think I'm very confident it will click. And then we'll build that confidence and then we'll see it through and then we'll start regularly beating those top teams. I mean, like, truth be told, that the team talk before the Trojans game in that semi-final was just, we've done preparation all week. Now it's just about going out and showing that you can beat them. And we did, ultimately. So.
Amazing.
Yeah. That European exposure, I think, is something that is so crucial to club development in the National League, because the National League itself is at pretty good standard, but week in, week out, you're not always one-on-one challenged to the highest, to your limit. I don't think that's controversial to say. But when you go out to Europe, you are playing the top teams from the respective leagues in Europe, and each game is a real battle, and you really find out your own ability as well as your teams, and it can only make a team stronger. I think that will be certainly something I'm looking forward to getting back to with Beck this year, and I can only see it benefiting yourselves, and so you'll be able to take that experience back into the National League. So yeah, exciting times ahead at the top of the table as well this year, I think.
No, yeah, really, really exciting, and sort of I'm really excited for the next game. So obviously we take a little bit of a break, from the European Championships and stuff. But when we come back, November 9th, Ernest Bevan, the first big class, yes. So, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that's going to be a really good competitive game. And those are the sort of games we play for, and those are the sort of games we're in. And yeah, for us, it's just now showing that we consistently deserve to be considered one of the top teams. Because we believe we do, and so I'm just really excited for it.
Yeah, I've got no doubt that you guys are definitely going to be up there. I hope you don't mind. Before you go, we're going to play blind ranking, John. So I'm going to give you 10 players, right? Just one by one by one. But you have to blind rank them from 1 to 10. 1 being the best, 10 being the least best. Because they're all great players, okay? Well, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
First player to grade from 1 to 10, Charlie Vogwell.
7.
Okay. I'm going to have to write this down at the same.
He won't mind that shirt number. Loves it.
That's good. Okay. Chelsea Browne.
9. I'm trying to preempt who's going to come.
Yeah, it's hard, so hard.
Yeah. Also, for the record, that was 100% targeted. So hopefully she'll hear it before the next, before your tournament goes out there, and that, maybe you'll get a bit of heat on the sidelines. Okay. Number 3, Sam Brooks.
6.
Okay. Number 4, Ollie Bell.
8.
Number 5, Shannon Jones.
5.
Number 6, Kira Wilcox.
What numbers have I got left? 1, 2, 3, 4.
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and 10.
3.
I love it. Wilcox goes in 3rd. Right. Number 7, Blake Paff-Raymond.
1.
God, he just is, isn't he? He's fantastic. God, we can't get enough of him on here, can we, Caitlin?
Just in my life, I can't get enough.
Number 8, George Rourke.
10. You won't mind. He'll take that. You won't mind.
Okay, all right. Do we not need to edit that bit out? Do you want me to just...
No, he'll take that.
I love it. Okay, number 9, Caitlin Fitzgerald.
Oh my God, James, what have you done now? Well, I've got to be 2nd or 3rd. It's all good.
It's 2 or 3. I'll save my last one. I'll save 2.
Well, I think Wilcox was 3rd, so it's 4 or 2, John.
4.
Right.
I'll go 4. Sorry.
4.
Damn it!
All right. I hope we see that. I hope we see that match up on in a couple of weeks. That would be a cracker, wouldn't it?
Oh, Jesus.
And then, lastly, for number 2, we're going to go Neela Brennan.
Happy to.
Yeah,
That's not bad. That's not bad.
First and second is pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was preempting who was coming next.
Yeah, no, it's hard, isn't it?
But yeah, let me read out John Bagnall's blind ranking. We've got number 1, Blake Palfrayman. Number 2, Neela Brennan. Number 3, Kira Wilcox. Number 4, the Big Fitz. Number 5, Shannon Jones. Number 6, Sam Brooks. Number 7, Charlie Vogwill. Number 8, Ollie Bell. Number 9, Chelsea Browne. And in at 10 is the Scottish legend that is George Rourke. That's a pretty good list there, John. That's well played.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad. There's maybe 1 or 2 players who could feel a bit hard done by, but yeah, I don't think that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Can tell you for free that Caitlin's going to be buzzing to hear she's above Sam Brooks and Charlie Vogel. I
always suspected as much.
That's class.
Interesting fact to finish, but I think my wife Jessica was one of Caitlin's first ever coaches at Bromley Korfball Club. And she often tells me whenever we watch Caitlin play, taught her everything she knows. So she'll definitely have her up there.
Jessica went to the same primary school as me, and she was in the year above. Got introduced to Korfball in the same way that I did. So yeah, that is can confirm that is true. And actually, Anna Goodridge as well was one of my very, very first ever coaches when she was potentially a teenager. She used to help out at Bromley. So yeah, those two taught me everything, guys.
Yeah, so I'll probably go out of the office shortly and get stiff and I'll put you higher. That should be number 1. Best coach.
I love it. That's cracking. That's John. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. You've been brilliant. We are really excited for the games this weekend. We'll be watching and cheering everybody on and hoping it's a cracking weekend. And yeah, just thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. And just a reminder for everyone, Scotland's first game is this Saturday. I believe it's 9:30 GMT. So, and that'll be on the IKF channel. But I'm sure I'll post the links on our Instagram page as well. So get up nice and early on a Saturday and give it a watch because it will be a good one.
Great. Sure. Thank you so much, guys. And just to say a huge shout out to the 2 of you. I think this is a great idea. The podcasts I've listened to so far have been so much fun and you're doing such a good job. And I hope you're really proud of it. And so you guys deserve so many plaudits as well. So thanks for having me.
Thanks, John. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, John. Legend, mate. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, mate. Wow. What an absolutely cracking fella.
No, to be honest, I wanted to... could actually have had him for another hour because I don't think anyone has been all over the UK in a Korfball sense as much as John. I didn't know about him starting at Oxford. Obviously has been involved up in Edinburgh and now down at Bristol, was at Birmingham, the Mr. Worldwide of Korfball.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's, that's a pretty fast rise, isn't it? If you think about it, in 15 years since starting the sport, he's now he's coaching, what is on paper the second best national team, that we have and took them to that. So I think it's really, really interesting story. Would love to have spoken to him for longer. It's always one of those where I feel like every guest we have on, we could chat to them for hours. But yeah, we'll definitely have to speak to him. And I love that. He's excited for the game. We're excited for the game in a few weeks. It's going to be. I think a lot of people are going to tune in for that and see how that goes down. Listen, I back that we've arguably got 6 of the best boys in the UK. He backs he's got 3 of them. So let's see what happens. It's
comment if you agree.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I love that. I love the coach backing his players. That's why we want to meet lots of different people, get their opinion on things. Yeah.
Exactly that. He sees them train week in, week out. And those players are absolutely outstanding. He sees them, and that's what we want to hear. And we want to love to see that. He knows confidence is a big part of the game. So he's obviously feels that for his team, both for Scotland and for Bristol. And just love talking to him. So amazing. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there, guys. We really hope to bring you lots more Korf content. We got lots planned. We're hearing lots from people about feedback and what to do. We hope we can bring as much Korf content as we can, whether or not that's the north of England, Bucks, whether or not it's international tournaments, whatever. We're trying our hardest to make sure the future of Korfball is also spoken about. We are listening, I promise. But yeah, for now, what a fun episode. Shout out to John and Chelsea for being such amazing guests as always and providing us with great content. We're very grateful for their time. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. That's it, Caitlin. 3rd one in the bag.
Woo! Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for listening. Much appreciated. Bye-bye.
Cheers.